Today we're talking about the Tracer 700, one of my top picks when I was looking for a motorcycle, but I never expected my uncle to buy one right after I got my A2 license. Suddenly I had unlimited access to the bike I was dreaming about, and we rode it through the Moroccan mountains, the highways and cities, usually with one of us on the back. I had the time of my life and I genuinely thought this is it. This is gonna be the bike I'm going to buy, but I didn't. I chose the MT-07 instead, and in this video I'll tell you exactly why. Let's start with the advantages the Tracer 700 has over the MT-07. An obvious one is wind protection. The front screen actually makes a difference on the highway. Instead of getting blasted by the wind to the point you need Mike Tyson's neck workout, the Tracer 700 actually spares you the trouble. That said, I did expect more of a difference. I'm 186 cm tall or 6'1", and I still get a decent amount of wind buffering, but with an aftermarket windscreen it could potentially be a game changer. Then there's comfort. The seat is definitely more comfortable than the wooden plank of the MT-07. It also has a different shape, so it doesn't push you into the tank, and this results in a riding position that's even more upright, and it just feels more relaxed overall, especially on longer rides. I've done 2 to 3 hour rides with little to no discomfort, and part of that might be because of the higher seat height compared to the MT-07. The Tracer 700 features an inseam of 830mm instead of 805mm, and the 2025 model comes with a 2-part seat which allows you to adjust the rider seat and increase the inseam to 850mm. I can flat foot it easily, and even my friend who's 175 cm or 5'7" said it was surprisingly manageable. As always, just go and sit at one at the dealership, or even better, go for a test ride. But you're not the only one sitting more comfortable. Your passenger also gets a better and wider seat. Plus the built-in handlebars and the top case make a massive difference and allow you to actually relax on the ride as a passenger. Riding as a pillion on the MT-07 means you need to hold on to the rider for dear life. It's basically the difference between a stool and an actual chair. So if you're planning on doing long trips with a passenger, this is gonna allow you to get a lot more riding done with fewer stops and less back pain for the both of you. Of course, you can always put a top case on the MT-07, but you're more likely to find a used Tracer 700 with a top case and maybe even matching side panniers. Personally, I think it also ruins the look of the MT-07, while it suits the Tracer 700 a lot more. Talking about storage capacity, the Tracer 700 wins again compared to the MT-07, simply because of the existence of the GT version. The 2025 Tracer 700 comes in at €11,600 and the GT version is €13,200, and that's a €1,600 difference, but you get a higher windscreen, a better seat, side panniers, heated grips and a center stand. It's up to you to decide whether or not that's worth it, but if you configure the regular 2025 Tracer 700 through the official Yamaha website and you only add side panniers, you'll end up at roughly €13,000. And you don't have any of the other accessories, which I think is insane, but it is what it is. They want to sell that GT version, you know? Anyways, if you're planning on doing serious touring, the extra side panniers seriously improve your carrying capacity. I've had to buy a soft tail bag for my MT-07 to carry my chain around through the city, and I will probably need to buy another specifically for the road trip I'm planning to do soon. Subscribe if you haven't so you don't miss that. Next up is cruise control. The 2021 Tracer 700 doesn't come with cruise control, but the standard 2025 model does, and that's the first time ever that the standard model comes with cruise control. Before that you needed the GT version, so that's a nice add-on from Yamaha. Highway rides are very boring, even more boring than university, so having cruise control is not a luxury when you're doing a road trip, it's pretty much a must. And cruise control isn't even something you can have on the MT-07 even if you wanted to, so there's that. Finally, the fuel tank of the Tracer is a lot bigger. The 2021 version has 17 liters of fuel capacity and the new 2025 model has 18 liters. Compare that to the MT-07, which only has 14 liters of fuel. That is a big difference of 4 liters, but that extra fuel doesn't come without the price. It also means the Tracer 700 is heavier. The base model is 203 kg and the GT version is 212 kg. Okay, I've talked a lot about the Tracer 700, and as you can see there are quite a lot of reasons as to why people go for that bike, and honestly it might be better than the MT-07 on paper. So why did I not end up buying the Tracer 700 then? Well, the main reason is the handling. Although the Tracer 700 is an amazing sport touring motorcycle, leaning more towards sporty riding, it still didn't quite do it for me. The bike is bigger, the suspension is longer, the front wheelbase is bigger, and the seat height is also higher. You just feel less connected to both the bike and the road, and you're more sitting on top of it instead of being one with the machine. Especially in corners, it doesn't give me the right amount of confidence I need, and it might be something you get used to, but the difference was quite noticeable coming from the MT-125, which is even more nimble than the MT-07. So the Tracer 700 just didn't really feel nice. The MT-07 on the other hand felt like it was just the natural upgrade, everything clicked, and I want to say, don't underestimate what I said. This was a very big deal for me, and it's probably one of the most deciding factors. My next point is looks. Honestly, it's kind of weird because I really like how the Tracer 700 looks, especially the 2021 version. It's clean, mature, futuristic, and definitely has that touring vibe. And that red color is so nice. But at the same time, I'm not a touring guy, at least right now. In Amsterdam, 90% of my riding is done in the city with the occasional joyride, but I'm also rarely on the highways, and the Tracer 700 just looks like it's ready to cross continents, and that doesn't actually match my use case. I was looking for a more aggressive and fun bike, and the Tracer 700 didn't really feel boring per se, but it did feel a little bit too well behaved. And I know that's a little bit of a weird thing to say because the MT-07 and Tracer 700 both have the same CP2 engine, but just like I said, it comes down to the handling. Maybe the fact that my uncle got this bike makes me see it more as a dad bike. I'm 22 years old, and although my back is horrendous, I'm not really ready to go for a touring bike. It kind of feels like early retirement. Another important reason is the price. The 2025 MT-07 cost €9,300 and the Tracer 700 comes in at €11,600, which is a €2,300 difference, and I cannot really justify that price difference. You're getting basically the same bike, but the Tracer 700 is prioritizing comfort, which is something I'm not prioritizing at the moment, and the MT-07 isn't really lacking that either, to be honest, apart from the seat. So to sum it all up, the Tracer 700 has better wind protection, more comfort, it's passenger friendly, and it simply has way more touring potential. The 2025 model also comes with cruise control and adjustable seat height, but despite all of that, the handling didn't feel aggressive enough, especially coming from the MT-125, and the MT-07 just felt like the more natural upgrade. I'm not ready for serious touring yet, so I'm totally fine with throwing a soft tailback on the back and just dealing with the struggles that come with that. And the price difference is something I can't justify. You might think my reasons are a little bit weak, but that's probably because I've done a decent amount of glazing the Tracer 700 in this video. But it's really not about what's objectively better, it's about what fits you the best. I don't ride with a passenger, so I don't need passenger comfort. My trips aren't that long, so I don't even need comfort for myself. I also don't need the fuel capacity because I don't do a lot of touring. I don't use cruise control because I'm not on the highway that much, and I don't need a windscreen because I like the feeling of the wind hitting my helmet and stuff, because it just makes me feel like I'm going faster than I actually am. Anyways, if you're trying to decide between the MT-07 and Tracer 700, I hope this helped you a little bit. And if you've already made the choice between either of them, let me know in the comments about why you did that. And thanks for watching. If you're more interested in the MT-07, check out this video. With that being said, adios.